want to do a quick intro into my interior. So I made multiple attempts to try to install the headliner on my own. And so I hired somebody to come out to install the headliner that I purchased, and they told me they couldn't install it either because I maybe stretched it too much or just a defective headliner. So then I bought another headliner, and then the company came out to install it, and the headliner was defective and had little holes in it. So I had to return that. So the company, they left again. So they came out twice now. So I figured maybe it was the brand, so I decided to buy another headliner to install, and then the company that came out said they wouldn't come out again. And I must have called multiple companies here in my area to do a mobile install for headliners, and nobody did anything. And so I was like, oh, shit, what am I gonna do? So I decided to do a full install on my own, and the video that you're gonna be watching is I did a terrible job. So after watching it, you get an idea of the correct way to get it set up, way to install it and do some cuts. But the really hard part was getting it stretching and get it to get all the wrinkles out. So I tried really hard. I don't know if it was a headliner or just my incompetence. I don't know. So for all those critics out there, yes, the headliner that I installed is not good. So I may take it out somewhere sometime in the future and get it redone. But I did. I really tried, and I really thought that I was able to get it done. It just the way that I did it inhibited me and to be able to stretch it properly. I watched multiple videos and I thought I did it right. So here to there. So the videos you're going to be watching here soon shows the headliner install. It shows the arm pillar installs and the trim on the inside of the windows, and then the prep kind of before I get the windshield in. So you're welcome to make comments and maybe any ideas that I could have done better, but at least you get an idea of how hard and frustrating it gets to install these headliners, and we'll kind of go from there. So thanks for watching. So when you watch this, if you want to know how to install a headliner, maybe not necessarily watch my video, but at least you can kind of see the process I did to get it installed and the proper cuts and things like that. And then from there, maybe do some research on your own and figure out maybe what I did wrong. But anyway, so here you go. All right, making attempts to get my headliner installed. Just quick pointers. There was lots of videos on this, so I'm just gonna run it through it real quick. So for your headliner, you just want to make sure that you get your center line. So you mark all your centers. All right, and then I've got my bows in already. And then once you get your bows in, make sure the bows are centered off. And then I haven't cut yet, but then you make an insertion, 3-4 inches or so past the end of the bow. You cut it into the sleeve here and expose the end of the rod when you go to install it, and you'll see that come up later in the video. And then also a lot of prep work you gotta do. So all the holes that you have that's in your headliner, everything from your rear mirror to your sun visors to your coat hangers or anything else, your dome lights or anything else that you have that mounts to the headliner, that you need to make sure you put the screws in first. That way when you go back in, you can feel for the screws, you know where the hole is, and you're done. And then what I do is I put a piece of tape over my holes to where the bows go into. That way I remember which one is which. Specifically, each car is differently, but I remembered when I took my bows off, I just marked them. And so you see there's 3 holes or so per location, and I just marked my phone. And then never forget your tack strip here, and then all your other mounting
strips, get those installed. And then make sure it's a nice warm day. I'm sure it's going to be maybe close to 100 today, maybe 95. So I'll be sweating it pretty good. So I'm going to make those cuts on here, and then I'll continue with more. All right, I made all my cuts. Okay, so just a little bit, just enough so that you can stick the bow rod out at the end. So this is the back of my headliner, and that's the front. The front of the headliner usually has more fabric. So from your first bow line to the edge of the fabric, that's usually, I don't know, 13 or so inches or so. And then on the back, it's about, I think it's about 9 or so, no, about 10 and a half. So again, more fabric in the front, and then less in the back, kind of distinguishes which direction it goes. All the headliners I've seen don't tell you that, so you just make sure you measure the distance from your first bow to the front, and then first bow to the back, and get your distance and find out which one's longest, and that way you can figure out where it goes. The only one that you don't cut is this one here. This one here is that it's different than all your other bow rods. This is the one that gets pinched into the center with these little cleats. So we're not cutting anything for here, because this doesn't get, the end of this rod does not poke into the ceiling. So let's get this sucker inside. Okay, so for this first one that goes in is of the 5 rods, it goes in the center here. So you hang it, and so you literally take the fabric and you puncture the fabric with these cleats here. So we've got, so again, make sure you have the back, marked it with a B. So we get 1, 2, and 3. So here's your third one. So again, it's just a wire, and what you want to do is you bring up, so you make sure you find your center. So that's our center right there, and our rod should already be in the center. So we'll bring this up. What you do is you hold it up and make sure you get it in the center, and then start poking the the fabric through these cleats. Okay, like that. Okay. Make sure the rod is at the top of the sleeve, and then just continue down and do the rest. All right, now once you got them poked in, and then just get a screwdriver and just bend those cleats up to lock this in position. Okay, now that it's got you got hanging, so however you want to do, you can start working from, you can start stretching it to the front or stretching it to the back, however you want to do it. I've seen a lot of videos where they do the glue first, but I'm no near experienced enough to do the glue, so I got a hold of a bunch of clips, and basically just you get the stretch where you want it, and then put a clip on it and go all the way around, and it'll hold it in place. And then once you got a good location, then you can go back and start gluing it once you're comfortable with the position. Okay, so this is the part where you are putting your rods in, okay, and that's where when you start to bunch these ends up to expose the tip of the rod, and then that's where you put them in the hole that you need. All right, here we go. Okay, so this bunches up like that, so that when you go to push this rod up, you need enough room so that when you go to stretch this, and you cut that sleeve and get that right position when you do this. All right, so move it in the center, okay? And then we've got our rod clips that are right here, okay? So recommendation is probably get some new ones, and then when you do go to reinstall them, they're just really easy. They just twist, okay? Turn in and twist in. But you need to make sure that these have a smooth move, okay, back and forth. You could probably put a little bit of oil, a little bit of grease or something on there, just enough so that it has smooth action. Otherwise, when you go to pull the headliner, you want to be able to have these move back and forth a bit, so you have that adjustments in there. All right, so we'll get these, so we'll make sure we're on our center. Okay, and we'll get these clips in, so I'll get the rest of these rods in and bunch these up and go from there. All right, so got all the rods up, and you can see how crinkly it is at the very ends. Okay, so well, the braver you are, you know, the more you can cut the location of that hole. I did 3 inches just because I wanted to make sure that I cut it right. You can go to 2 or even less, depending on how experienced you are and how brave you are, because if you cut back too much, then you're kind of screwed and it won't look right. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start getting my clips. I'm going to start stretching it out towards the front, and then see how it looks, and then start working my way in the back. All right, I got generally stretched out, so I'm fighting it a little bit up front here. So it's bunched up quite a bit at the end, so I'm getting a lot of wrinkles all along these edge here until I can pull these down straight. But the back is getting a little frustrating. So here, that one's pulled stretched pretty good, but this stuff here is still pretty loose. And what's going on is this seam here is as far as it'll go. So up inside, there's that bow clip that slides back and forth. Well, it's slide back as far as it can go, and then this seam here is stretched out as far as it'll go. So I've pulled pretty tight on this, so it's really tight along the seam here, but really loose here. And the same thing is kind of going on here, where that clip is all the way forward and also tight here. So it's not really pulling this stuff tight. So what I'm going to do is, so I've got that pinned down for now. So I'm going to go through and start cutting at the ends of the bows. And so the way you do that, I cut a little bit already. You can see what I'm doing. Okay. So see, I'm pulling this, it's not going. Okay, it's because right here. All right, so I've cut a little bit. You can see here, we got the piece hanging there. All right, so what we need to do is we need to cut that sleeve back so that we can pull this down more in order to get rid of that crinkle. So you can either use a pair of scissors. I'm using a knife. But basically you want to cut it just below the rod. If you cut it any lower, you don't want to get into the seam here. Okay, so see how much leftover I have here. You cut too low, you start getting into the actual seam itself. So cut along the top of that rod, and then, you know, cut a 1/2 inch or so, stretch it, see how it looks, and then just keep kind of cutting a little bit, and pulling. All right, so I've cut quite a bit off, so you can see how much I've cut from here all the way up. I mean, that's a good 4 inches or so. So you can see how much room you have, but it's always best to have more room. So then, okay, so you can tell that I need to cut more to get that to pull. All right, you can kind of see the change with picking up that slack and pulling them down, getting rid of the bunching. Okay, so now that no, okay, so I can still see I can't pull this one anymore. Okay, so I still need to cut probably maybe another 1/2 inch or so off of this one, but I've got most of it, so you can kind of get a general idea of how it's looking and what you need to do to get this tight. So once I get it fine-tuned and then get kind of all my clips in, and then that's where I'm going to go back and start using the glue and using the trim to hold it together and hold it in. And that's the tricky part, and that's one of the things I'm a little afraid of doing, but hey, let's do this. All right, continuing with my headliner. So I was able to, so I got this front section here glued and clipped. Same with the back. but you can see still the wrinkles here. So I need to pull these down. So I think I've done all the cuts I need on the inside here. So a good sign of it being cut right or the right distance is that when you pull, you can see, okay, it kind of tightens up on you. Okay, but if you cut too much, this corner here, okay, right where here, okay, that will slowly move up if you can't pull it tight enough. So if it's cut too much, this will drop down a tad. But it's all in preference, you know, that's how I'm doing it. This one here, see, you pull it tight, it's not pulling. You're like, what the heck is going on? Why isn't it tightening? Because don't forget you have those cleats. You got a couple cleats in here, and it's pinching down the headliner up here, so it cannot move back and forth. So maybe as a reminder for those in the future, when you do your cleats, give your headliner just a tad of a pull, not super tight, maybe enough to get rid of some of these wrinkles. That way, when you go to pull here, you know, most of this is already gone. So no matter what I do, that's not moving because there's a cleat right here holding on to it. And then here, so we'll see that tighten up there. Okay, same over here. Oh, that's a cleat one. So okay, so what I'll do is I'll go around and I'll get rid of these wrinkles in the front here. You see, I'll get this headliner to pull tight. Okay, a little bit better. So I still have kind of more to work out here. This is the one with the cleats, so I'm having issues with that one. And then here I can pull it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my trim on here. There's that, and I'll show you what I'm doing, and then I'll put my trim on here. But you can see I've got some wrinkles here still. I need to pull this tight, but you can kind of get a general idea. And at points where if you're pulling this way and it's wrinkling like this, then you can do some V cuts and to control where you're pulling. So we'll fine tune that, but for now I'm going to put these up here, and my trim up here, and those are here. Clean these up. I'll pull these. All right, here's my trim, and here's the front windshield. So this is the location here where the rearview mirror is, and these are at the door. So forward with passenger side, and then forward with the driver's side. And then I'll get the trim out for the back window, which are these here. So I forgot that they were wrapped around the corners. So these don't go in until we can get the sail panels, because part of the sail panels get tucked in. So that piece goes here and then comes down. So you've got the headliner, and also when you put your quarter sail panel in, that gets tucked in, so that pinches that in. So we'll hold off on those. But for now, we'll put the front windshield one on. And for starters, I removed most of my clips, and then found my center. All right, and then slowly as you move along, you can remove your clips. Again, I glued it, so we should be fine. I'll slowly pinch it on, but don't hammer it on quite yet, because then you may have to adjust it right or left depending on the center is, because you've got your arm pillar that comes up here. It has to line up with that. Okay, so now you've got it mostly in here. So you got about finger width over here. So just make sure you got equal distance between the frame and the end or molding, and then we'll put the final push in. Okay, that looks good. All right, so I'll get a little mallet, we'll push that in. All right, so when you finally do the very end, you've got to fight this here. You need to make sure that's a clean pull and looks nice. Okay, so like that, and then should come down. Okay, I'll pull that nice and clean like that. so that when our trim comes here and then our pillar arm comes here, so when you push that in, make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, so we'll do the same here. So pull down and kind of up. So we'll pull up from here and then pull down with two hands. I got my phone on me, so and then put that on. Right. So then once you my clips, okay, it's kind of dark. Hard to see. I'll glue this where my fingers are. That's where the pillar goes. I'll keep moving down here. And then we got trim. Don't forget to trim this off up here. Alright. Trimmed up. I give it a slight stretch when you cut it, just so it kind of just sucks in just a little bit. And then lift some here so that I can pull and tuck there at the pillar arm. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to start working on the pillar arm location. Okay, alright, so notice we have, some slack here, and that's kind of how we want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I'm pulling here, that's kind of where we want to do the V cut. So I'm going to do a slice right here so that I can get this end to fold up and this end to fold on the pillar. Okay, like that. So then I only now, okay, we can just glue that right there. All right, and then we'll work down this way so that when we put our trim on, you push it on, it's going to distort the headliner as you push it on. You're going to get some additional wrinkles that you're going to hate when it goes on, which is what's going to happen to me, but I'm just getting the sucker on. So that's kind of how you want to work with the pillar arm location here. You cut your V's, kind of move it around and try to figure out which way you need to move it and or cut it. So all right, and here's an idea of how far up the pillar arm covers. So if you don't know how far down to glue or location, that's kind of where it sits. You can tell that it covers here. Okay, it sits pretty high. So you have enough room to pull that down and for that to be tucked in. But don't forget, so we've got a hole here, okay, that our pillar arm screws into. Of course, we've got one down here, but so I'm going to pull this off for now. Okay, and I'm going to find our hole. Okay, and there's a hole right there. Okay, so of all the screws I put on, I forgot the pillar arm. So get that in there, or at least after you're done stretching it, you can probably feel for it, but at least get the screw in there. Okay, working on the back here. So I'm working on this corner here. Okay, so I made a cut here. All right, I can give it a good stretch and pull down. So if you pin it here and pull down here, I'll show you. There you go. So I pinned it there and then just stretch, pull down here, and you can get a decent corner. All right, and your quarter panel where it comes almost the top here, so it comes all straight across to here. So you've got quite a bit of material to hide with that corner panel sail. All right, so if you're ever having a problem with corners, think about doing a little cut, V-cut, to help you stretch it out. Okay, and then also for these tack strips here, okay, these guys, those usually take a staple, real short, 3/8 smaller staple. I had trouble finding one, so what I did was I'm making myself some little clips. So basically they are just little clips, and then I hammered them to a little bit wider, and then they'll just slip right on. It's just my method of doing it. Seems to be works pretty good. It lays flat, and then you can panel it here. but I'll show you more when I get these all in. All right, installing my driver's side post pillar trim. So there's 2 screws. We've got one there, so that's the bottom, top. Got one there, so on the dash. So we've got one right here. And then the other one is kind of hiding from the dash. But it's... Where's it? Where'd it go? Right there. Okay, so I'll have to get a tool in there and pry over the dash a little bit to get in there. I'll show you. All right. Okay. So let's sucker on. Alright, so when you get your screws in, I use a tool to help find exactly where it is, kind of poke around so you know what angle to go at if you can't see the hole. I've got kind of lined that one up already up here, so we'll work on this one. And then it kind of gets tucked in here. And here's what it looks like from the outside. So it does bow out, see how it bows out here? So when I wrapped it up in a previous video, I was trying to fix it to prevent that from bowing, but that didn't quite work. And down here on the dash, there we go. The other side. So as soon as I get the glass in, well, that'll probably smash it down a bit. And then I'm not quite too sure what to do about this, so I may have to replace maybe this one. And maybe I can wrap it up again. And then I'll do the other one. Okay, for the second one, the dash was completely covering the hole. So I had kind of peek in there with the screwdriver and kind of pry it out just a tad just to see where the hole is. Poke through the dash and got the screw in. And then this one here turned out fine. Okay. And then on the outside. So hopefully when the glass gets installed, that shouldn't be in the way. And again, this one hugs pretty good, and then right here is when it kind of sticks out. So passenger side isn't so bad. But it is original, decent fit. It hugs the dash pretty good. I was worried about it not hugging the dash. And then the kick panel here snubs up pretty good. So not bad. So those are the pillar arms. Again, those are the original ones. So maybe in the future I may replace them, see how they turn out once we get the glass in and other items. But I may just wrap this and see if I can hold that and wrap it up for a while until I get the glass in. But other than that, that's it. And then headliner's kind of done. I was showing a video, recording videos for it, but I'd hate to show my work. It's terrible. I did a terrible job, so I will not be posting a video on installing the headliner. I had tried multiple times. It's in. It's kind of tight. Maybe I'll post some pictures of it, but yeah, I'm a little worried, but it's okay. It's okay. That's real bad. I couldn't pull it. I just, no matter what I did, because this is the one that has the cleats in it. That's the center one, and you cannot pull that tight, no matter what you do. But I've watched a gajillion videos on how to do it, and nobody shows you in detail on how to solve specific problems. But here or there, it's in, it's done, so I'm going to do all the trim, cut it up, And that's it. All right, got the rear window trim in. So the way I did this, I put one side in first. So you got to find the center, okay? Because it's in two pieces. So what I did was I started down in the corner and just put that corner in, and then kind of worked my way up from here and here. Not push all the way in, but at least get a general location of where it goes. And then same with the other one. Put the other one in. I started in the corner, in the bottom corner, stuck it in. And then slowly just kind of put on just a little bit, just to make sure that it all lines up. And then this, once you finally figure it out, then make sure you're pulling on your your headliner, but it should already be glued on. But you're pulling the slack out, and then slowly get just a little mallet. Doesn't take much, and lightly tap all the way around the edge, and get that sucker to go in, and get in the corner too. So you want to make sure that corner gets pushed in, because if you're overlapping here, or if you've got too much or too little there, then you need to make an adjustment. And then what I'm going to do is trim the excess headliner off. And then we'll go from there. There we go. Now when the windshield gets installed, clearly I think this plastic here needs to be trimmed. See here, I can tell it's been trimmed already one time or another, to where the trim here is level with the metal on the car where the glue glues to, the window sits on. But right here, it's high. So that must have been pushed down at one time, so that may have to be cut to put that window in. Here it's really high. It's high here. You can really tell it has been cut. But it is the original window, so I think it was removed only once when I got in an accident in the late 60s. The whole quarter panel here was replaced, and I think they had to pull the window out in order to do all the welding and the grinding and repair, and then put the window back in. And when they did, they had to fuss with this probably. That's the only reason I can think of is the reason why that window would come out, but it is the original window and it is dated correctly. But other than that, that's it. All right, and then I got the trim above the doors in. Same process. It's really easy to do. Just make sure headliner is in, and then just get, push it in, and then get a mallet and lightly tap on it, and just as you go, tap along and get that snugger in. And then the other side is done. And again, please excuse the shitty job on the headliner. I still need to blow dry it, and that's pretty much it. All right.